Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. And welcome to another episode of Black Expats from all over the world with Dr. Tasha Pierre and Mr. Chartez Wiley. I am Dr. Pierre.
And I'm Chartez Wiley.
Welcome, welcome. We want to welcome you all to another episode.
Yep, how you guys doing? I'm doing good. How you doing today, doctor?
I'm okay. It's
That's
kind of
good.
gloomy here in
Yeah, it
Japan, actually Okinawa to
Okinawa
be
in
exact, and we don't get weather like this. So we're like, whoa, but we kind of like it because we were just talking
I
about
know
how
it's feeling good. It's making me, I'm going to go out for a run later.
Yeah.
I love the weather. It's a little cool, slight breeze. I can't complain about that. So.
We lived in Germany, as a lot of you know, and we missed the snow, and we were in Alaska. So, we missed, I know that's another.
Yeah, Alaska, I'm not going to lie. Alaska's a beautiful place. It's a great place to visit, honestly, for sightseeing, taking pictures, but it's too cold.
It is. So I'll stick with Germany. We missed the weather. It was just that winter season where you're baking cookies, getting in the house, watching good movies on the weekends.
Germany's cool.
Yeah.
I can deal with that.
Yeah, you're on your way back over there.
Oh, yeah, I'll be there soon. So.
Yeah, and I can't wait to get on here. Yeah, as you guys know, we said it last time, Chartez just signed with a team in Germany. So he's going back to Germany. So I'll be on here. Hopefully you'll be able to come on and might not be on as much because I know he's going to be training, but let you know about how it's going.
Yeah, we'll definitely.
We're excited. So we'll keep you guys updated on that. But I guess we'll go ahead and get started.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So let's get right into it. Today we just really wanted to talk about just traveling. And that's really what our whole podcast is about. That's really what our group is about. But we wanted to kind of talk about, the way of traveling, in particular, us, and our community. One thing that we really wanted to talk about was kind of the lifestyle and how people are really taking traveling. What really is your why? What's your reasoning when traveling? Are you traveling for a good reason, or are you traveling to impress people? Just being honest, and it's nothing wrong with it. At the end of the day, we've talked about that too. Life is too short. Enjoy your life. Do what you need to do.
Right.
We commend people for traveling. That's something that we wanted to do because a lot of time back then, especially, us being minorities, a lot of us don't really travel a lot,
Exactly.
So just to see more of our community, our group traveling a lot and people posting, our group is blowing up. People post every day. More and more people are traveling. They're getting ideas of traveling. And I just meet people on an everyday basis. Hey, it's my first time, but I'm getting into the traveling world and I'm excited for it. And I actually appreciate that. And I like that, because I think about traveling as a way, and we talked about that in other podcasts as well, is that it opens up your whole mindset.
Mm-hmm.
You're open to seeing new things, you're experiencing new cultures, you're trying new food, you're meeting new people. It's great, and it helps you just in everyday life in general. But something that we wanted to talk about was just, like I said, the lifestyle, and kind of going into that. It's just like, for instance, using an example off rip, going to a country, let's say a place like Thailand. We're using Thailand because Thailand is a very big place right now. It's a hot spot especially for a lot of people in our community, not only traveling to visit, but a lot of them are moving there. A lot of them moving there with just out the blue. I'm going to Thailand. I've even met some people that are saying, hey, I plan on moving out there. I've heard about it.
Just out the blue.
And I'm like, oh, okay, that's what's up, but it is what it is. But just bringing that up because you look at it like this, and I've seen a lot of videos and even some posts where people, say like, hey, I'm living in Thailand. And obviously we know the US dollar is a lot more powerful in places like Thailand and different countries that you can go to. And it's a lot, you can live a lot cheaper out there. You can get a decent place for a reasonable price, right? So we see stuff like that, and that's cool. But you see videos of people saying like, hey man, I'm living out here in Thailand. I'm living like a king, the women, this and that. And, I got a driver coming to pick me up. They serving me food. They treat me like this and that. Da, da, da. Okay, like I said, at the end of the day, do your thing. That's great. We're enjoying you. But you got to look at, my main thing with that is I have absolutely nothing wrong. I feel like there's nothing wrong with that. I have nothing against people saying that, because you're, like you said, you're coming up.
Mm-hmm.
It's great. You traveling, you worked hard to get there, do your thing. But you making videos and things like that, you don't understand that these people are watching, and it's serious. We talked about this in another podcast. Why I keep going back, because we talked about a lot of these things before it's happened. Going back, I remember a couple years ago, a lot of people were going to Mexico.
Yeah, that was a big thing. A
lot of people were going to Mexico. People still go. There's nothing wrong with Mexico. But it started becoming bad because a lot of people were going there, and a lot of the locals were seeing that people are coming to my country
and they're riding.
And they're using, their money and all of that is powerful. You know, at the end of the day, you're grinding for your money. It's like, okay, I paid my way to get there, but they looking at it like, I'm sitting here struggling. You coming to my country chilling, living like a king, like a queen, and you talking about how you can do whatever you want in our country. We want you out. And then they had a lot of problems with the locals.
They did.
Kicking out a lot of the visitors. People who moved there, they left and went back to the States because of the things that happened. And you kind of see it briefly going on in Thailand. I've seen some reports of it happening there. Things are getting more expensive. You're going to get swindled more because they're like, okay, I'm going to increase my prices. You know, these people want to come here and think that they can just live here free because, you know, they have a more powerful, more powerful currency, excuse me. The currency's higher. I see that. You know, at the end of the day, I need my people to be right. You know, I need my people to live. We can't have, just like
our country.
I'm going to be honest. You see the stuff going on in our country, you know, with ICE and things. That's a whole nother story. We're not really getting into political things, but you know, it has something to do with foreigners. And that's the same thing for us in other countries. You know, a lot of us, that's what's wrong with the U.S. People feel entitled. So they're going to these other countries think, oh, I can do whatever. But they don't think about that. These people are watching this. You know what I'm saying? And I know I've been rambling on for the past 2 minutes, but, you know.
It's the truth. No. It's the truth, Chartez.
Yeah.
Everything you're saying, you're speaking the truth. And just pick backpack and piggyback, whatever you say, on what CJ said. Yeah. We call him CJ too. But Chartez, he's right. You know, we talk about this all the time. We've talked about it in other podcasts about how, you know, we see a lot of Americans, and we're American. That's why we're specifically saying Americans. They get on YouTube. They get on these different social media channels, and they're saying, hey, you know what? You can take your American dollar here to Thailand, go to Taiwan, go to, what's the new one too? Philippines, Vietnam. Bali, Vietnam's another hot one. I haven't been hearing about that one lately. But they've said, let's come here. And you can come here, like Chartez said, get a driver. You can have a butler and have maid service. That's fine, guys. That's fine. Everybody wants to have a come up. But like you were saying, Chartez, these locals, they're watching. They have YouTube just like you do. They watch social media just like you do. And they're seeing us come in their country and bragging with our American dollar, living like kings and queens. And they're having to work like, 80 hours a week. Mm-hmm. We actually went to Thailand this summer. We went there for about a week and a half. We were there visiting. We had got a place there and it was beautiful. People were nice. And the cost was, it was below value than what we thought. Our dollars went a long ways, but, and I'm going to use this for an example. We did one of the excursions. I was on one boat. We did the canoeing and Chartez was on the other. And the gentleman that was rowing his boat, actually his son was rowing my boat and he was explaining to Chartez. That's right. He had the son. I had the father. I apologize. Yeah. And he was telling us and actually how this is my whole family's doing this. We have to work so many hours and we're not getting paid nothing. He was basically just venting, telling us. And when I say they give you top tier service, they're very respectful. We were just in Bali for the holidays. They are some of the most kind people. They bow, just like here in Japan. Yep. They have great, great customer service and they don't expect tips. They don't expect them. But, you got to look at that and say, hey, these people, this is their country. This is their home. They're grinding, working hard, and they're living most of the time below poverty. But we come there and we're bragging on social media about, hey, you know what? Our passport can take us here and we got this money, come live here. And we see people on there and we're seeing it more and more people bragging. Mm-hmm. And you know what we've seen, and that's why we went ahead and decided to do this podcast. They are being very strict. They're coming down, I'm telling you, on these visas now. And what the U.S. passport, it used to be gold. And I'm sure a lot of you seen it. Not anymore. And I'm speaking, we don't really get on the politics in this channel, but a lot of the situations with politics where they're stopping a lot of these foreigners coming in our country, they're doing the same thing to us. And it's sad because not only does it depict what the politics is doing, it's us as Americans. Like I said, we're getting on here. We're bragging. We have this, like you just said earlier, Chartez, we feel we're superior. Nobody's superior. We're all the same. Yep. Everybody's grinding. Everybody's trying to live. The little American dollar we have, if we use that in the United States, it depends on how much you're making. Right. You'll be in different tiers of living. It's hard in the United States. That's why you're leaving out the United States to go to another country. And it's no problem with us traveling. Like you say, Traveling is educational. Traveling is fundamental. I'm glad a lot of people are traveling. We've been expats for over 10 years, and I've seen it, as the years progress. And I tell Chartez all the time, I'm glad to see this new generation traveling a lot, but it's the way that it's going on, the way you guys are doing it, getting on here, bragging, talking about how, you can live like a king in these other individuals' countries. How do you think they feel? We got to start taking them in consideration.
Yeah. And that's the main thing, man. Just respecting their country, respecting the people, kind of going there and doing that. It's not right. And I brought it up. Like I said, it's kind of, if people were coming to our country and doing what they were doing. You look at it from the standpoint of these people coming to our country, we're struggling. Imagine if you were in that aspect, to be honest. And that's one thing I say, it is, we have inflation. Prices are outrageous now, so
it's ridiculous.
That has a lot to do with a lot of people relocating. But, we are blessed. Our country, we don't have to go through a lot of the stuff that a lot of these countries go through. We're blessed. You understand? So,
and we've seen a lot in these countries.
So when you go to these countries and you just doing what you're doing to these people, it's not right. And like I said, the main thing I'm looking at too is it's nothing wrong with, like I said a couple of times, I want to emphasize that it's nothing wrong, absolutely nothing wrong with you showing off what you got going on. Essentially that's kind of what everybody does when they're traveling. When you're taking pictures, when you're blogging, when you're documenting your everyday different ventures in whatever country you're in, there's nothing wrong with that. We have social media. That's pretty much what it's for, to post memories. We have different things like YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, X, whatever you use to document what's going on. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's cool. And then it also helps, with other people to kind of see where you're at, to kind of get an idea of what they want to do or where they want to go. Because they're looking at this video, they're saying, okay, hey, dude. And that's another video. We talk about that with different experiences and stuff like that. But it's just, you got to respect the country, man. You making videos going there like, hey, you come here, you can live like a king. You can do whatever you want, this and that. That's not cool, man. But then you got to look at it too also. What are you going to the country for?
Right.
Okay, so that's fine. There's nothing wrong with going out. We do that, especially being younger, older, whatever. You living your life, whether you're retired and you like, hey, I'm retired, I'm doing what I got to do, or you kind of young, you living, you traveling. There's nothing wrong with that. But just kind of get you an idea and a plan of why you're moving to that country. Don't just do things like that. Then you got to be smart. These people are seeing that, and it's going to continue to get worse because we're seeing it every other year. The hot spot, whether it's Thailand or whether it's somewhere in Europe or wherever, it starts to get more strict. Places like Mexico starting to get more strict. DR. It's a lot of places where it's like, all right, we're not playing games no more because we see these people coming. They're going to increase the prices. We've seen that places we've been to previously where it was cheaper. We see more prices come up.
Yeah.
And it's nothing wrong with that because, like I said, we have inflation in the States. Prices have went crazy in the States. We haven't lived there in so long that we see the prices. We'd be about to pass out how crazy the prices are. But you gotta be smart with it. And that's kind of one thing that we talked about too, is a lot of people these days bring up stuff like that. They don't hold nothing in. They can't hold water. You understand? And it's nothing wrong with telling people, okay, hey, yeah, you can do this and that. But like, do it a different way, man. And even if you wanna live like that, do it in a slick way. Not really a slick way, but like a way where it's not going to affect you in the long run.
Right.
Because you're going there for a positive outcome. You're not going there to deal with crap.
Exactly.
You understand? So.
And like you were saying, Chartez, I'm going to piggyback on that. You were saying, what is your reason why to move out the country? A lot of you are just watching YouTube and people are saying, oh, it's cheap. Yes, people want to be able to live and be able to live comfortably. We understand that. But I'll tell you example what we do. We've done it since we've been here. And I think I've talked about it on the podcast. We've welcomed Japanese children in our home. We came here and we're like, okay, you know what? We're indulging in their culture. So we want to go ahead, not only teach them our culture, but also learn their culture. So we welcome children in our home on weekends. We're in a program. They come, they spend the weekend with us. Sometimes they have day programs. It's a one-night program or sometimes 2 days. We've even had 3 days where they come, and they're exchange students here in Japan, and they come and they get to know our culture. And then we also get to know a little bit about their culture. What we do on Christmas, I think I've talked about that. My daughter and I, we go to this daycare center that's in our neighborhood. We took all the kids, just gift bags. We put together gift bags. And the owner, she was asking us, she's like, I have a question. what made you guys do this? Why? We were in front of all the kids. We said, because we wanted to give back. We wanted to give back. We feel, you know what, you're welcoming us in your country. We want to do something. And I'm not saying you got to do that. You know, it is costly to do that, especially with big daycares like that or something like that. But anything, get out there and volunteer. Do something in the community to show them, hey, you know what? I appreciate being here. You've welcomed me in your country. You've accepted my visa. And now I'm here and I want to do something. Get out, meet the locals. Every time we move to a different continent, we don't never stay near my job. I work for the government, the US government to be exact. And I know a lot of people, especially Americans that work for the government that come abroad wherever we are, a lot of them like to live near each other. That's one thing that we don't do. We always, even if it's 45 minutes away, we always live in the local community. So we're able to, you know, go out and meet the locals and be able to, you know, immerse in the culture. And that's helped us a lot. And I enjoy it. But it shows them that we love and appreciate their country. We're not here just to get over. We're not here to sit up and brag. Of course, like Chartez said, you want to show you're traveling. Everybody does it. That's what social media consists of. I'm always showing our traveling. I'll show, you know, life of where we're at, or if you're on vacation, but it's the way you do it. You can do that and be it tasteful. Like, you know, I'm here in Bali. It's a beautiful country. Enjoying Bali. I don't have to sit up and say, you know what, I have my American dollar. This is how much I paid. That's when it goes to bragging, guys.
Yeah.
That's when it starts bragging.
Right, yeah. It kind of, you know, just continue with that. And I know I kind of said it a little bit, but if you do, at the end of the day, you're going to live your life the way you want to live it. You know, and that's one thing we say is, life's too short. Do what you need to do. And if you go over there and you have that mentality of living like a king, a queen, whatever, that's fine. Go ahead and do it. But, like, you know, keep it to yourself. That's what's wrong with us these days. You know, people want to show off to everybody about what's going on and this and that. If that's how you living, if anything, and that's kind of where I get confused at with people, is a lot of people are more so focused on showing off to other people that they mess up what they got going on. Right. You know, so it's like, dude, if you want to live like that, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. You know, you in a country, you living like a king. I'm happy for you. But you making these videos and, hey, y'all, look at me. You know, I'm living like a king. I only spent this on this and that. Da 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 da. You got to understand that. That's one thing we talked about too. People don't know how to gatekeep. Now, there's some things, of course, you want to help your people out. You want to let them know and give them an idea of what they can do or whatever. But then at the same time, you got to look at it from your standpoint. You going out there telling everybody, hey, man, you come out here and do this and this. More people are going to start to come. There's nothing wrong with that, right? But they're coming there for the wrong things, because you're not going to have everybody that comes there with the intent of traveling, learning a new culture, or even leaving their country, respective country, to have a better life, whether that's America, wherever they're trying to go to wherever they're trying to go. You're going to have some people that are going to go there with a different agenda, and it may be the same as yours, but they're expressing it different. You know, once they get there, you know, they party, doing whatever they got to do, right? So then when you look at it from this standpoint, it's like, all right, so they're doing that. These people are watching this. We're going to increase the prices. We're going to make it harder for people to come, because at the end of the day, it's just like with the crap going on in America. They don't want all these foreigners coming to their country to be respected, honestly, because a lot of them, okay, they look at it from the standpoint, we have more foreigners coming, we can make money, this and that. But at the same time, it's taken away from their people. That's how they look at it. But if they have people coming here, immersing in their culture, doing their thing, like you mentioned, when we go to different countries, we're living locally. You know, we've been affiliated with the military pretty much, you know, my whole life. And one thing that I have, a lot of family and friends always ask me, whatever country we're living in, oh, so you live on the base or you live near? It's been times we've lived 30 minutes, 45 minutes from the base, you know, because it's like we're trying to immerse ourselves into the culture. We're trying to show, and that's another thing with them too. And that's one thing you want to show, is that we're showing, hey, we're not just coming to your country, because a lot of these different countries, and we've had incidents, you're going to have incidents, you know, it can happen anywhere. We've had incidents where people have probably, well, talked to us and told us, like, you know, we feel this way about Americans. You know, Americans feel like they're entitled and this and that. A lot of these countries feel that way. A lot of them do, you know.
We've talked even at the airport.
Right, even at the airport, people have told us that.
They see our passport.
Yeah, and you know, they kind of might say something slick or say this and that, but then they see, once we talk to them, and even us living in the local communities and interacting with our neighbors and trying to show them, like, hey, we're trying to immerse in your culture. We're trying to learn you. We're trying to get to know your culture. You know, we're here. We're respectful. Whatever you got going on, we're going to respect it. It doesn't matter if we're from America or wherever we're from. We're in your country now. And that's what we're trying to show them. And once they see that, they're like, okay, these Americans pretty cool. You know, we like them, you know, and it's like, that's what you got to do, man. And it's not me saying that you need validation or you need to be accepted, but you can't just go to somebody's country just, doing anything. You got to immerse yourself with them. I'm not saying you got to belittle yourself or anything like that, but you just got to show them like, hey, I'm in your country. I respect you. I've come here for a better life. I've come here to experience whatever, even if you are living better in that country. But, just don't go off the rail and do unnecessary things that don't need to be done.
Yeah, and that's where you go back of bragging. That falls back in what we were saying, bragging.
Mm-hmm.
We just purchased a home in Italy, and right now, like I stated earlier, Chartez just signed a contract with a German league football team
mm-hmm.
in Germany, and I just purchased a home in Italy. So now we're taking courses. He's taking German, I'm taking Italian, and we felt, what, we need to learn that language because he chose to play with this team, which is in Germany.
Yeah.
He's going to be in another country. And why would he expect, and you can elaborate on this, Chartez,
mm-hmm.
why would you expect them to know English and
right.
you're playing on a German team?
Exactly.
Just like me, I'm going to have Italian neighbors, and some of them, I've already went out there. I've met a few wonderful people. I love Italy, Sicily to be exact. But a lot of them don't speak English. A few of them I've met. They try. They give warm gestures where we're trying to talk, and we thank God for Google Translate and a lot of things like that. But I said to myself, I'm like, okay, if this is where I'm going to spend half of my time at after retirement, purchasing a home here, I do need to at least learn the language. That's showing them with respect. Hey, you know what? She's an American. She's coming here in our country, and she's coming to live here. Because believe it or not, guys, a lot of I'll go ahead and probably talk about this on another podcast. We're going to be giving classes on, the process of buying a home in Italy. A lot of people ask us that. And the market is great there. I'm not going to lie, compared to where we're from, the United States. So they know I'm coming over there buying and purchasing where I'm getting a good deal. So what are we getting out of this as locals? Well, you know what? I'm here to learn your language. I'm here to immerse in the culture. And I'm here to volunteer and do what I can do to go ahead and help out there. And that's what I've been thinking about too, because I have a few more years of retirement. I'm not going to say how long because I'll tell you my age. But I'm already thinking about some things I want to do when I get there, just to go ahead and help in the community. It's a beautiful community we're moving into. And like Chartez, the same thing. He's planning on staying in Germany. He graduated from high school there. He knows a lot about Germany. Mm-hmm. So that's one thing. He's like, what, I'm going to go ahead and learn the language. And that's what we're doing. It's little things like that, guys, that you just need to do to show the locals in the community that you're moving to. Hey, I'm not moving here just to use you and bring my American dollar here and say, hey, I'm living like a king or queen and you guys are still struggling. It's not right. Mm-hmm. It's not right. Just like you said earlier, we have all this stuff going on with ICE in our country, and they're getting the foreigners out of there. The foreigners that don't belong there, that are doing things that they're not supposed to do. So how do you think they feel about us?